Hello, everyone. On today's episode of the Career Evangelist Podcast, we are joined by a powerhouse in leadership and transformation. I'm talking about Nikki. She's a serial entrepreneur, board director, best-selling author, and a trusted advisor to Fortune 1000 leaders. With 25 years of experience and deep expertise at the intersection of human potential and AI, she's here to show us how to reinvent ourselves and lead in a rapidly changing world. And with that, we'll bring in our guest. Hello, Nikki. Welcome to the show.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
It's wonderful to have you join us today. And I'm excited about this because I think there are tons of information that you are going to share with our listeners that will benefit them in their career. So, without any time to waste here, so let's go straight into it. You've reinvented yourself, I'll say, multiple times. So, what was the moment that you realized that reinvention wasn't just a detour, but it was mostly a career strategy?
Yeah. It's really interesting because when I look back at my own career journey, and I also look at all of the people that I've seen do extraordinary well, and break through all kinds of barriers, the one common through line is that they don't wait for the world or circumstances or the environment to force themselves to change. They do it on their own. And that's the big difference in whether reinvention happens to you or you do it to yourself. And for me, it started with coming to America as an immigrant and really learning to adapt to society here. I had to unlearn the old way of what my conditioning was, what I believed, and how I grew up, and figure out how to be successful in this new environment. So I had to reinvent myself. But in some ways, it was because of circumstance. I had to do it in order to survive. Over time, I realized that if I am able to define the next version of myself, who do I need to be in order to be successful in the next chapter of my life? I can create that identity. I can figure out how to build those skills, develop that mindset, build those habits, and actually step into that next level much more effectively and a lot faster. And once I mastered that, it became sort of the formula I followed over and over again. So now, anytime I look at the future and think about, well, what's the opportunity for me to step into? Who do I need to become? And then I just systematically follow through and become that.
That's amazing, Nikki, and thank you for sharing that details with us. What I'm hearing there is that people need to be proactive and we need to
Mhm.
think about what that next level entails for all of us. Now, you've built a community of 25,000 plus C-suite leaders. I'll ask here, what career skills, or
Mhm.
maybe above all others, what made that possible for you?
Um, you know, in any situation that any community that you're trying to serve, whether it is, your online audience or a business you're building, the most important thing to understand is really the profile of the person that you truly feel called to serve. Who are they? Where do they live? How old are they? What are their hopes and fears? What are they struggling with? Once you truly understand the profile of that person, think about how you can specifically create value for them. How can you help? In what ways does your experience, your expertise allow you to serve that community? And once you know the answer to that, just give generously. Just keep serving that community, help them, and over time, you will earn their trust and respect. And that's what builds the relationship that allows you to, lead with confidence.
Fantastic. So I know you talk about AI, and
Hmm.
I keep saying there's virtually no career conversation or that go on these days without mentioning AI. So let's talk a little bit about AI. Agentic AI is transforming how work gets done today. What does this mean for an average working professional who is not tech savvy? What should they be thinking about in terms of AI and transformation in the place of work?
So, number one, you have to recognize that this is uh, the greatest disruption in our lifetimes. This is not going to be something that you can avoid or hide from, right? It's affecting all of us. And so, if it hasn't impacted your job yet, it's just a matter of time before it does. So, rather than be afraid of it or deny the reality, embrace that, get yourself ready for it, and fully adopt that mindset that you have to become AI ready. Number two, the real power of AI isn't in just using it like a search engine, where you use ChatGPT and you're just typing prompts and all of that. That's surface level. The real unlock is where it completely redefines how you do work. And that's the big exponential divide is that AI is changing work a lot faster than people can change how they work. So if you were in marketing, AI has completely changed how marketing gets done. So, but we haven't adapted our way because you might have learned how to do marketing a specific way for the last 10, 15 years. It's much more important for you to unlearn the old way and really allow yourself the space to think, how could this be done differently with AI at the center, right? And then rethink, that workflow of how work gets done. And then number three, the most important thing is figure out what is the unique value that you bring that AI cannot replace. Because if you don't know that, you're competing against a machine where the machine will always win against you. So it's really important to know, what is it that only you should continue to do? What decisions, what tasks, what unique sets of things that only you can be trusted to lead with, and where is it that, you can let go and let AI take over?
I like that. And the way you said it, that we all should figure out our unique value proposition. What do we bring to the table?
Yeah.
That will lead me to my next question because I know many people, they think like AI is coming for my job. AI
Mhm.
is going to make my job obsolete. So what are some maybe practical first step that people need to take, maybe starting immediately in terms of how they think about AI
Yeah.
replacing their job?
Yeah, so first of all, it's if AI can truly replace your job fully, then you haven't defined what you uniquely bring to the table, right? AI is replacing tasks. So in any job, there's a number of tasks that need to get done, right? So within that, let's say for most jobs now, it's like affecting at least 30 to 40% of work that can be done by AI. But that means there's still 60 to 70% that is dependent on you. So you need to figure out what that is. So break down your job into specific tasks and think about what things lend themselves to automation and AI doing the work either autonomously or through AI tools. Break down all of those things and figure out where a machine cannot take that part. And then those parts are where you need to strengthen your skills and become even more valuable in those areas. So, for example, it might be in customer relationships. You can't outsource that to AI. You have to manage customer relationships yourself. Leadership, when it comes to original ideas and creativity, double down on the things that make you uniquely human and then number three, build AI fluency. This is something you can't read a book and master it. You have to do it. Unlike other areas that we can master by just reading a book or taking a course, AI is not like that. It requires hands in the dirt kind of mindset where you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to build things. You got to really learn how to gain that fluency. And that's not going to come from a course or a certification. That just comes from doing the work. So just to recap, number one, recognize that you have to identify the tasks that are getting replaced by AI.
Mhm.
Number two, the things that are not getting replaced, double down and own it and become stronger at it. And number three, build the AI fluency so you learn to think of AI as your coworker and that you and AI together are more capable than you alone or AI alone. And that's what at Flipwork we call that. That's when people become people squared. They become exponentially more capable.
I love it. So tell us about Flipwork.
So, the divide I talked about where technology is racing ahead and humans are getting left behind because of AI, that's a real challenge that everyone is facing worldwide right now because it's the speed and scale at which AI is changing is near impossible for humans to adapt to it. So Flipwork exists to close that divide. Our focus is, helping people identify, what makes them valuable in this AI world, help them strengthen and build those competencies, and then learn how to work with AI as their coworker, and that's how they become exponentially more capable. And we work with enterprises around the world that is really helping their people, not get left behind. Instead of losing their jobs, instead of people being scared, they go from people scared to people squared. And one of the great places to start for anyone listening to this is we have a proprietary diagnostic that helps you figure out your AI readiness because you have to know where you are right now before you can even figure out how to do better. But often people don't even know, where am I stuck? What are my bottlenecks? What is it that's actually holding me back? And what are the next steps I need to take? So the diagnostic is a fantastic place for everyone to start, no matter what career stage you're in. It'll give you not only the clarity of your profile and your score against global benchmarks, but it's also going to give you an extensive report that'll help you start on your AI journey today.
Excellent. So, Nikki, let's talk about branding and visibility. You have been featured in CNBC, Bloomberg, Fortune, and Forbes. Did you chase this visibility or did they actually find you? And can you share with us some of the
Yeah.
lessons that you learned to get onto these publications?
Yeah, it's interesting how so much of my media presence, how it all evolved. Years ago, when I was building one of my previous companies, we were doing extremely well and winning all kinds of entrepreneurial awards and innovation awards for our work. And during that time is where, I happened to be at a dinner and I was sitting next to the editor of a major magazine. I didn't even know who it was, and I was just simply sharing my story. And next thing I know, they approached me about featuring me in the magazine and writing a huge story that went totally viral. And it's just been an evolution since then, since like last 15 years of kind of building upon that. But one thing, what I've learned from all of that exposure and the visibility is that it's not about your own success or your journey. Ultimately, all it does is it gives you a platform to inspire and help other people. Because every time someone, hears your story, they see parts of themselves in that story. And they believe that if you could do it, they can do it too. If you can see it, you can be it. And that's really what it's about, is that my goal in always kind of, sharing more and sharing not just what I learned, but the struggles I've been through has really been about like helping other people see that like we're all, you know, quite alike in more ways than we recognize. And somewhere out there, there's a story that will give you the answer to what you're struggling with today. But after that, it's on you. You have all the inspiration in the world is not going to change your life. What's really going to change your life is when you turn that inspiration into action. And that's when your life changes.
So good. Thanks for sharing that with us. So, most of my listeners here, they are in the senior leadership role in their
Mhm.
organization. And I know that board directorship is increasingly becoming a career goal for this
Mhm.
executive. So, what do most people get wrong about how to land a board seat? How should they do
Mhm.
this?
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing you get by just applying. to something, unlike a job, you can send applications, that's not going to get you picked.
Yeah.
First of all, before you even think about getting the role, you have to think about, are you really ready for it? And do you really want it? It sounds a lot cooler than people realize what it entails. There's a lot of fiduciary responsibility, there's a lot of liabilities involved in it. It does take a significant amount of time because it's a serious responsibility in helping organizations navigate through all kinds of turbulence. So be clear about why do you want it? Do you want it because it's another feather in your cap, it looks good on your resume, or do you want it because there's a mission that you truly feel aligned to and you believe you can bring value that makes the business even better? Whether that's a for-profit or a nonprofit, whatever that might be. Secondly, I'd highly recommend doing one of the board certification courses because it prepares you for what to expect. And instead of going in blind, it, gives you the right foundation for it. Harvard has an excellent course. There's several other independent organizations that certify as well. That's a great place to not only learn the foundations, but also to build a network. Like you start meeting other people that are in the same journey as you.
Yeah.
And thirdly, really look at, what types of industries or challenges that you are called to. So for me, like education and technology, those are the areas I care deeply about and I'm drawn to them. So I started looking at, what are those areas that, I'm personally passionate about. And then when you kind of get to know more of those leaders in those spaces and the CEOs or other board members of those organizations when there's a right match and expressing your interest in it but letting the right match emerge for you. It's not something you can force fit. You can like just pitch your way into it. It has to be the right match at the right time.
Excellent. So, you are also very passionate about reinvention, right? So, give us, I'll call it like 90-day reinvention sprint. What
Mhm.
you do maybe in month one, month two, and month three.
Yeah. So at Flipwork, we take people through a 90-day reinvention sprint. And during that time, we have a step-by-step curriculum that helps them go through every piece of reinvention from their personal reinvention to reinventing how they do work, like literally taking their workflows and their processes and systems and thinking about, this is how we used to do it, this is how I need to do it differently. And then finally teaching them, how to build the AI fluency and the skill set, for the future of work. What we found is that a lot of people tend to start with technology first, and they'll start with the AI training, right? But if your mindset is not AI ready and you just do the training, it doesn't really unlock, the full potential there. And if you are throwing in AI tools into outdated workflows, that too derails it because it's like, your entire process is outdated, but you're putting some like modern tool into that. It just doesn't work. So we take the opposite approach, which is first start with your mindset. You have to think differently for, this AI age that is super fast. It's, filled with uncertainty and all of that. So how do you need learn to think differently? Then we focus on how do you need to work differently? How do you reimagine every single functional area of your job, every single task? And then only after that, the third piece is now let's master the tools and build agentic AI.
You. So, as we are wrapping it, Nikki, what's one career advice that you give in private that you wish you could shout from the rooftop publicly so that our listeners today can learn from you?
So the public advice that I always tell people is dream big and bet on yourself more, that don't be afraid of change and leaping into areas that you've never done before and just always bet on yourself and take more risk than you think you're comfortable with. I think a lot of times we think this is, that we'll do the next step that's somewhat more comfortable. But I'd say like take giant leaps and you'll figure it out. So bet on yourself for that. But the other piece that, privately I always say is also don't be afraid to walk away from something that is no longer right for you. I think too often people stay stuck in jobs that may not be terrible, but it's keeping you stuck in mediocrity. It's not challenging you to the next level, but you've gotten comfortable because you have a nice title, a nice paycheck, great coworkers, a safe, comfortable environment, but it keeps you stuck. The only way you grow is when you take bigger and bigger challenges on. And for that, don't just wait to get, to be denied that promotion or a raise, or maybe you got laid off and only then you start looking for alternatives. I would say, always ask yourself, is this still challenging me 10x? And if it's not, don't be afraid to walk away from what's familiar.
Oh, that's so good. So you are telling us we should bet more on ourselves and we shouldn't be afraid to walk away when the
Yeah.
opportunity seems not to be matching our skills.
Yeah, I think we have a natural tendency to focus on sunk cost. Like I've put in so much time into this job, or I've built so many relationships at this place, and it's an easy commute from my house, or I've worked there. Like we focus on sunk cost. Like I don't want to
Comfortable
lose all
zone,
of that
right?
that I've put.
Yeah.
But sunk cost is, what's keeping it, you don't think about the opportunity cost. What are you not getting? What are you not learning? What are you not building because you're focusing on the sunk cost? And I found that the more times I've pushed myself to start over, the more I've leaped forward and catapulted ahead. And times when I've been comfortable, even though I was doing well, but it wasn't really pushing me, those are the years that I feel like I wasted, time and opportunity.
So good, Nikki. Thank you very much for joining us on the Career Evangelist podcast. My listeners, they would like to get to know you better. They want to continue this journey with you. Can you please tell us where can we find you, Nikki?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Nikki Barua. And also my website is nikkibarua.com. And for those of you interested in taking the diagnostic, go to flipwork.ai where you can look for the diagnostic and get your report today.
I'm going to take the diagnostic myself. Thank you, Nikki. It's
Sounds
nice
great.
having you on
Thanks
this.
for having me.
All right. Bye.